Assalamu alaikum to all and Ramadan Kareem. I am Abdullah's Baid. This is Break Your Face TV. It's always a pleasure when the guest we have today joins us on our show, none other than the president of Brave Combat Federation, Mr. Mohammed the Hawk Shahid. How are you, sir?
Pleasure to be here as always, Abdullah.
It's always good to have you. How's Ramadan been treating you so far?
It's just the beginning, so enjoying it, dieting, always a month to do something different. So looking forward to see what's going to be different this month.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Inshallah, it'll be a good month. There are a few things, Shahid, that we want to talk about. But before anything else, I know I've messaged you this before, but congratulations on a very successful completion of Brave International Combat Week, the MMA Super Cup, and of course, Brave CF57. How good does it feel looking back today at the success of that week?
I mean, it's exciting to be back. Thank you very much. I mean, everybody had great reviews. Just woke up the country. We've been waiting for this event to be back. Yeah. So we had to do something special. Every combat week had to have something special, So, but it was also interesting from an MMA perspective or MMA fan perspective to have that MMA Super Cup during the week, and the Super Cup to be as successful as it was. I mean, that was the fun part as well. I mean, you feel a sense of success and achievement when, the whole idea was to make that MMA Super Cup in terms of making people understand the concept. We spoke about this before. The concept was the key. And then you had the first opening fight in the MMA Super Cup between Oceania and Ireland, where it was 4-4. And it went down all the way to the last ninth fight, So it all made sense. 2 minutes, 59 seconds. The last second was the difference maker, and the whole, you could see the team going crazy, when that guy got a knee bar on the Oceania fighter and Ireland went through to the semifinals. So it was amazing. It was amazing to have some crazy viral content, amazing MMA Super Cup. Brave event that had everything. Was a full package Brave event that we say, so it was really, really, really exciting. We could do 50% of the things in putting up the structure and putting up a show like that, but at the end of the day, the rest 50%, it has to be the fighters coming in and putting on a show, and they did what they had to. It was a perfect combination.
Definitely. It was a spectacular week, and for me personally, nothing could top an absolutely spectacular event in Brave CF57. One thing I didn't expect, though, was a little over a few weeks later, people would still be talking about the event. I've been getting a ton of questions, and I thought, you know what, why not bring on the man himself to answer all the questions for the fans and the audience, and also maybe distract them from their Ramadan hunger. Shahid, let's get right into it. The co-main event, what a war. I said this to both Fakhreddine and Maalem, one of the best fights I have seen in my life in any organization. Both gentlemen really fought their heart out. They put on a show for everyone watching. What was it like for you watching that fight play out after a huge lead up and all the history between the fighters?
It's amazing, I mean, like, it was very exciting to have that both of the guys go back to the cage, and and when the referee is ready to go and they go, and I'm like, anything could happen. I mean, that's the excitement of this fight. Yeah. But one of the things we know about Fakhreddine and Maalem is these guys are not going to come there to tap and move and be technical. And these are two high-level athletes. They have so much confidence in their techniques, and they're going to come out there and go at it. Go all the way, put everything into it, and that was expected. I mean, we've seen Fakhreddine do that many times. He has that personality of going in there to take the fight to his opponent. And after the first fight with Fakhreddine and Maalem, we knew that Maalem is not one of those guys who's going to be taking the step back as well. He's going to go inside there and throw his hands. He has confidence in his technique. So it was exciting. It was all the hype that we thought of leading up to the fight. It was there when the fight started. You could see the energy in the venue. So it's there. And, really, I mean, like you said, people are still talking about the fight, and it's fans, MMA fans. Not everybody in the MMA fans really know what the rules of mixed martial art are. So I have very interesting messages from the fans from both sides, actually. But it is what it is. It's nice to be here and talk to those fans and clear up and give them. Also, I think it's more of an educational time as well to give them an understanding that most of the people have this idea that when an event happens, when two guys are fighting in the promotion, they think the referees are hired by God knows who, and we always keep saying that the referees of the commission that's a part of the events are always an independent body. They are not employees of Brave, or we don't have any decision to be made as brave, and we cannot turn a decision as we want, So this is something that the fans don't understand, and I think that's a crucial thing to explain to them.
I'm glad you cleared that up, because that was one of the points that Muallim made is listen, why is the same ref officiating the fight, the same ref who he believes, I don't want to question the professionalism of any officials, of course, but he believes the same ref made a mistake during the first fight, so why is he back again? So Brave has no say in that whatsoever.
Oh, no, it's an international global commission that we assigned ourselves with for a long-term contract. And they have a team that brings the judges and referees for all the events. I mean, in the end of the day, there's so many things we can control. But in the end of, you have to understand that you're looking at the referees. It's not on the basis of anybody can come and judge and ref at a Brave Combat Federation event, So the International Commission is looking at the list of referees and judges that comes to an event, and they are giving the merits of these referees and judges. And we have the experience with these referees and judges, and we've seen them. I mean, one thing, when people say that they are not competent, that is definitely a wrong statement to make. They are definitely highest level referees. We've seen them reffing some of the biggest competition. Of course, now and then, I am one of the advocates for changing mixed martial art industry as a whole, let alone the refereeing and judging. I don't believe that we are in the same, we are in a situation where it is fair, the 10-9 system. I'm against that. I'm against a lot of things when it comes to mixed martial art, and that's why Brave Combat Federation is always looking forward to change. And every year passes by, we try to implement some change. And if you look at Combat Week, half of these people who are talking about these silly issues have to look back and think about the bigger picture of Brave, and that's what we do. We are always looking for new change. So these are highest level referees coming in. Is this the right thing to do in terms of human error? Do we have to have a video surveillance or video recording like football has war? For sure, 100%. We should use technology, and the change should come on board. And we are looking forward to making those changes so that when you have a fight like this, the highest level, two of the top guys, we don't want any mistakes. But on the other hand, what a great reffing from the referee when it came to this fight. We looked at all the punches, and none of them was to the back of the head. It was very crucial that the referee had to take those decisions. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we've seen, and also I think many people, you always find some reasons to have an issue with the decisions when it's not your way. I mean, when we have an Irish guy fighting with non-Irish guy, it always comes down to that point that who was the judges and referee, which countries they were from. We got to look at everything, So there's always got to be that loophole that you want to, as a fan, you can hold on to and say, maybe it's because of that, and that makes you feel better. But it's a competition, bro. I mean, it is fighting. It is the highest level competition. We're talking about two of the world champions, the best commission I've ever worked with. I've worked with all the different commissions around the world. We've traveled more than most of the promotions that's out there, or the countries that these people who are talking about have traveled to. We've done more events internationally than they've ever traveled to. So we've seen some of the commissions. We know the good and the bads, and these are some of the top guys, and they proved in their reffing that they are highest level referees. But at the end of the day, listen, when a ref or a judge makes a decision, that's a decision. You can always review it. You can always appeal for it. And we are the only promotion, I think, in the world today that has created a very detailed reviewing system where we don't take the appeal and pass it on to just the same commission that's been reffing or judging to make a decision. I never found that fair. I never found that as the right thing to do. But what we do is we have created an independent commission. So that we have two commissions. One is a reviewing commission, and one is a commission that is working with us on a long-term contract for refereeing and judging. The independent commission goes through a process of getting a group of referees and judges to make review those appeals, get the decision from the actual commission itself, but also do an independent reviewing with making sure that there's a list of very average, I mean, I wouldn't say use the word average, but not the well-known referees or judges, but referees or judges that are far away and might not have any personal reasons to go against the commissions. So you're looking at all the different angles on this reviewing commission, which makes, for me, I think, I wouldn't say it's perfect, but somewhere to start with to show that there should be changes coming into when it comes to the appealing, and we can't let even the referees or judges make mistake and not held responsible for it, So we are working towards that change as well.
Shahid, I'm glad you touched on the appeal. This was a point that معلم focused on after the fight. He made sure that he wanted to get his point out and his point across. He put out a video, Fakhreddine put out a video. I'm not sure if you've seen them both. I'm assuming that you have. Where do we stand in terms of the appeal process? Where is it exactly? And what are your thoughts on how the fight ended?
For me personally, I mean, I watched the fight a couple of times, many times, and I think that as far as I've seen, I haven't seen, again, I'm not a judge or a referee, but from my perspective, I haven't seen a back of the head strikes. And there were a lot of, and again, for me, depends, back of the head, it was back of the ear for sure. We always were taught, when I used to be fighting, the referees and judges were talking about, and they say that the mohawk area is where you avoid, and we've always known that. So if you look at the straight line back of the head, there was, I think there was 0 strikes on the back of the head in that line. But you never know in terms of the impact. Where does he feel the impact? I'm not sure about it. But from what we saw and the reviews, we've seen that it wasn't on the mohawk or the back line of the head. And that's just my opinion, and it's always going to be arguable when you have a situation like that. But we've reviewed it, we've seen it, and that's personally, I mean, that's not the review decision from the judges or referees. They're still going through the process. That's why you look at Brave's reviewing process. Whenever they have an appeal, it takes longer time than usual, and that's because they go through an extensive process, which is from the commission, from the reviewing body, and a process that they go through to get independent referees and judges from different parts of the world, based on looking at, they don't have any personal relationships with these commissions and have never worked before. And that's what they put together. So then we compare all the different decisions, and the independent reviewing body makes a decision based on what they think. It might be up and down, but they have to come down with the final decision.
And when can we expect that final decision from them? Do you have any idea?
For me, we always keep in touch with them, and we make sure that they come down to us. I think sometimes some of the decisions are much more faster. Some of them requires an extensive reports, and some of them even requires to go back and look at the wordings of the rule books to make sure that what do they mean by, because that allows us to make even appeals for decisions as well. And it makes sense, because a lot of times when there was a decision being gone against the other person, I don't mean the referee stoppage or illegal fouls or those kind of appeal, but just the decision, 10-9 or 30-27 to someone else. Usually they never were not supposed to have an appeal, or if there was, it was a no-brainer that would stay as it is. But with this system, we can actually go back and review it and look at it as well. So I think it takes different times, but I don't think it's been quite some time now. We never had a decision that goes over 2 months. So this could be something in the coming week or two. It should be out there.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. Shahid, do you have any thoughts on the main event between Hamza Kooheji and Brad Katona? Now, a bit of a heartbreak for Hamza and his Bahraini fans. Hamza was also pretty frustrated, claiming that Katona's fingers were in the cage at a number of points during their match, that he was never warned, or the ref never warned Brad at least. He says that Brad just held him up against the cage and didn't do any damage. Will we be seeing a rematch? And what did you think of the split decision? Grabbing the cage, warning, it's definitely there. If you grab a cage one, does not mean somebody has to take the points away, and it is what it is, So I don't think there was much in terms to appeal for for holding the cage side of it, because it wasn't very significant in terms of repeatedly holding the cage. It must have happened once. It was part of a takedown or one of those points. But I think the fight, these are two of the top bantamweights in the world. Hamza Kooheji, Brad Katona, the best bantamweights in the world. And when we saw that fight, we saw the two top bantamweights fighting against each other. That's why it was so technical. It was simply about, psychological chess game. We knew what they're coming with. These two athletes knew each other really well. So you looked at Hamza and you saw that Hamza knew what Brad is going to do, and Brad knew what Hamza is going to do. They knew that what each other, it was literally going back and forth, and they were trying to implement it
And that's why you saw that kind of fight that was so intense, where Brad was taking the guy down, but Brad couldn't jump in and throw a punch or look for a submission because he knew exactly what Hamza is looking for, and he couldn't let Hamza have that space. Well, Hamza knew that he knows what Hamza is going to do, so he continued striking rather than spending more time trying to defend the takedown. So at least I get my strikes out there and get my points. Judges might see it differently. So they were playing a mental chess game because they knew each other so well. And that showed that these two are the top-level professional athletes because they studied their opponent really well. And there you go, Abdullah. I mean, it was a split decision. One referee gave it to Hamza. Two of them gave it to Brad Katona. For me, it would have gone to Hamza's side. I'm cool with that. If it would have gone to Brad's side, it's cool with that. And again, it comes down to perspective about what do you think as offense and defense. If you look at takedown, I mean, the judges and ruling have changed a lot in MMA since the inception. You know, I mean, today, if I go for a takedown, the question is that takedown offensive or defensive, you know? So I could be ending up taking you down, so I'm defending myself from what I don't want to be involved with, and that is striking, you know? Or the other hand, I would be taking him down to be offensive because I know that that's where I can do the maximum amount of damage. So you have to look at how do you see it and how did the judges see it. And we saw that two of the judges saw it the other way around. They saw that Brad was won that fight, and one of the judges saw it differently. They thought that Hamza was more aggressive, and it was what it is, you know. So I think that if this is going to be a fight that could have a rematch, there's no problem with that. And I really think that a rematch would be really interesting, and I think a rematch in Ireland would be even more interesting, you know.
Yeah. We're definitely looking forward to it. Now, there's a big event coming up with Brave CF58 in South Korea. A few big fight announcements made very recently, the return of Rolando Dai being one of them. But the one that Break Your Face fans are most excited about is, of course, the return of Abdullah Al-Qahtani, who will be facing Yong-Soo Jung. Now, both fighters coming in with undefeated records. The Ripper, Al-Qahtani, 4-0, coming off an amazing performance with a third-round TKO of his opponent at Brave CF56. Yong-Soo Jung has a 3-0 record as well as one draw. What are your expectations of this fight first, please? And let us know what we can expect out of this event overall.
Yeah, I mean, see, there's two things we can expect from the event itself, because when we see Brave traveling to different countries, our goal is two things. One is to make sure that we go there and build a national ecosystem in those countries. So we're working with, always you will see us working with the National Federation, you will see us implementing future plans in those countries, but also working with people who have already invested in the development of MMA in those countries. That's why we do a lot of co-promotions, you know. So what we are doing at a global stage, there are people doing it at a national level as well, you know, sacrificing, spending, investing, and also working really hard in terms of developing the sport. So we look for these promotions who have done a really amazing job, and we collaborate with them and we partner with them, and together with our global value and our resources and their national value, together I think we could create a national ecosystem and be part of our global ecosystem, hopefully in the coming future. But also the second part is to look for those special talents that's going to be there in Korea, that's going to be the next big thing in the world, you know. And that's some of the things, you know, in Brave Combat Federation, that we have bought out some of the biggest talents around the world, you know. So, and how do we do that is going and giving these athletes, the national athletes, the opportunity. So, you know what, so you'll see a lot of South Korean athletes in our event, collaborating with the co-promotion, and we will actually see some of the best South Korean fighters that could perform. And when you give them that test, it has to be against the Brave athletes who are already in the roster. So these are the South Korean athletes that can show up and showcase that they are ready to be at a global stage like Brave, and to showcase their talent and consider themselves as the best South Korean athletes in the world. You know, so you can't have them fight anyone other than the Brave fighters, and you bring the world to South Korea and give South Korean fighters the opportunity to showcase the talent against the world's best. And that's one of the fights you will see with Abdullah Al-Qahtani when he's going to be taking on his and putting his undefeated record on the line. I mean, for me, Abdullah has a few of the fighters that I always say that I see every fight, and I keep seeing the improvement, are three fighters that's always there in the back of my head, is Sam Patterson, Taekyun Kim, and Abdullah Al-Qahtani are three guys that I see every time I see them fight. They keep developing. They're not the same guys. They always learn so much more, and that's something special, you know. I mean, a lot of people don't appreciate the progress that they're having fight after fight, and that shows how much these athletes are willing to absorb in terms of the development of the techniques as well. And Abdullah, if you saw his last fight, was a completely different Abdullah from what we've seen before that fight, you know. So he has what it takes to be the face of Saudi Arabian mixed martial art today, you know, and he is the face of Saudi Arabian mixed martial art today. And I think that there is a big future waiting for him. But again, I know that it's a fight sport. You know, you always go and compete against the best, and it's a 50-50 chance, and you're always putting your record on the line against the best fighters, especially in Brave Combat Federation. So, but I think that he's ready for this kind of competition, and he's out there to showcase he's the best. And every time, I know that he's always on my DMs talking to me and telling me that, give me that fight, give me that opportunity, I'm going to come to the next event. Every time we have an event, he's there, you know, and he's there and asking me for that opportunity to fight, you know. But never have he asked me who's my opponent, you know, and that's what I always love about the kid. I mean, he's there to fight against the best fighters. I think this year is going to be a very important year for him. The COVID years have also had a restriction from Saudi Arabia. At that time, we've always had challenges with in 2020 and 2021 when there was athletes traveling from Saudi Arabia to compete internationally. It was a difficult time, and I think that was a time where he had a little bit a relaxed, or let's say inactive times, and now it's back to the drawing boards. It's back into the cage. I think this year he should stay busy and get more fights in and make up for the lost time, and that's going to be an important 1 year for him and his career. What decision he's going to be making in this 1 year. So definitely excited to see him fight. Definitely.
And we are definitely excited as well. Shahid, it's always a pleasure having you with us. I can't thank you enough for your time. It's been a wonderful distraction from the hunger. I hope we haven't made you too thirsty, though, from answering all our questions.
No. This is perfect. You know, the only challenge is always when people ask me, whenever I have an interview with you, I pray that nobody asks me, are you busy? You got something to do? Because I always have to end up saying that, no, just the last one, I have to break your face. You know, so every time I use the word break your face, I'm always worried that they don't feel like I'm going to break their faces, you know. but always a pleasure to be here, Abdullah.
Hopefully you're not breaking too many faces during Ramadan.
No, with our events that's happened with Maalem and Fakhreddin's fight, I think I'm going to be a little more careful walking outside these days, you know. I mean, they're definitely going to France and Algeria and Lebanon. There's a lot of people wanting to break my face, I guess.
You stay safe, Shahid, wherever you go. Thank you once more. We wish you all the best in Korea, and we hope to talk to you again very soon, inshallah.
Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.